Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simcoe Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I would start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of Selling in the Motor Trade. I just come back from Ireland last week, and a salesperson, good salesperson, been in the industry for a long time, knows what he's talking about. Said, hey Skip, can you help me out? I always struggle with the customer says, I just need to check with my wife before I go ahead with the deal. Or I just need to check with my husband before I go ahead with the deal. Or I need to check with my business partner, my accountant, someone else. He said, how do you deal with that objection? Well, I said, firstly, we need to deal with that objection right at the beginning of the process. If the first time it comes up is at the end when you're trying to close the deal, I would say go back and check your qualification. We need to find out who the decision maker is early on in the process. But that one you've got to be so careful with. Because, ladies, listen to this. If you say to any man, can you make a decision? Okay, are you the decision maker? Can you make a decision by yourself? Every man's going to say, of course I can. I wear the pants in the family. My wife said I can. It's kind of like asking any man, are you a good driver? You know what? Every man's going to say, yeah, I'm great. But actually, are we all as good as a Lewis Hamilton or a Max Verstappen? Maybe not, okay? So you've got to be quite careful with that one, okay, to find out, are they the true decision maker without just saying, are you the decision maker? So this is a technique I stole from a guy called David Martin. Thank you, David. I know you're a listener to the podcast all the time. David's a great sales trainer from the States. We've interviewed him on this podcast. Go back and have a listen to it. And I really like this approach. So, well, actually, before I tell you David Martin's approach, let me go back to Ronnie Considine. Right at the beginning of the process, Ron Considine would turn around and say to a man by himself, okay, is anyone else going to be involved in the choice of color of the car or maybe accessories? You see, by wording it that way, we're kind of saying that, well, I know you're the decision maker, the man with the ego, okay, but is anyone else going to be involved in the choice of color of the car or maybe accessories? If the husband says, well, I probably want my wife to have a look at the colors of the car, that's almost code for, under no circumstances is that man ever going to buy the car without running it past his wife. But hopefully you've left the ego intact. Okay. And if the man says, well, I probably want my wife to have a look at the car, then you say, yeah, no problem. That makes sense. Hey, listen, when are we going to get your wife here to have a look at the car? Oh, sorry, the color of the car. Hey, when are we going to get your wife here to go through the accessories on the car? Again, you're the decision maker, but you're probably going to have to get that man's wife there to make the decision. So I'd nip that in the bud early on. Now, if the guy turns around and says, no, it's my car, my choice, I'll see what I can do. Okay, it's all down to me. Fine. You know that no one else is involved in the buying process. Now, having said that, I would do that to a man. If I've got a lady by herself, guys, I personally would never say that. Hey, is anyone else going to be involved in the choice of the color of the car? You might have the lady thinking, what? Can I not even make a choice of the color now? Is that what you're telling me? So you've got to be so careful with that one. But the man by himself, I might try that. If I've got a lady by herself, guys, I got to tell you, I pretend she's the decision maker from start to finish, no matter what, because you know what, guys? So often she probably is, okay? And just assume she's the full decision maker anyway, okay? So you might try that one to start with. Oh, and also, we got to be so careful. My brother is gay. If my brother was there by himself, okay, I'd say, hey, is anyone else going to be involved in the choice of color of the car or maybe accessories? I know that Wayne, my brother, would probably say, well, I'd want Peter to have a look at it. That's code for, I know Wayne's not going to make a decision without running it past Peter first. But also in reverse, I know their relationship. Peter might make a decision without running it past Wayne first. That's just the dynamic there. You have no idea who the decision maker is when you're speaking to these people to start with. So you might try that one just with a man. I wouldn't try it with a lady. Just be careful with that one. Now, also decision maker. You get the user chooser, the business person. They're driving that van, okay? It's going to be a caddy van, trans van, something like that. The end user, if you say you're the decision maker, the end user is always going to say, oh, yep, it's down to me. I decide where I buy it from. Guys, reality is that end user on that business to business sale, that lease deal, whatever that contract hire, whatever country you're in, are they always the final decision maker? So often they're not. And you're stuck going through all the hard work. They go back to the financial director, and the financial director or the MD of the company or the buyer says, you're not paying that for a car. No, we get our cars from such and such, okay? And you've done all the hard work. So again, on this one, you might say, other than yourself, is anyone else going to be involved in the final decision? Now, I know you're the decision maker, but other than yourself, is anyone else going to be involved in the final choice? Okay. If the user chooser says, well, my MD would probably want to have a look at it. That means we need to get the financial director. We need to get the managing director involved as part of the process whenever we can. Okay. Oh, while we talk about this meet and greet stage, also the other thing, again, the same time I was out in Ireland, this was a young guy, relatively new. And he said, hey, Simon, while you're talking about that, I always shake the man's hand, but sometimes I feel uncomfortable shaking the lady's hand. Whoa, what are we doing? Tell me what you say. I said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Simon, and you are? Okay, and then he does this weird, and you must be, and he does this nod. Guys, hold on for a second. If you're going to shake one person's hand, make sure you shake everyone's hand in the buying party. Absolutely everyone. Or in fact, even young Johnny. In fact, if you've got a hubby and wife and they're young Johnny, who's 6 years old, okay? Again, this is Ron Considine. Ron Considine was a great salesperson when I started in the industry. I was working at Tony Island Holden in Townsville, North Queensland. Ronnie was coming up to retirement age and was that smart old bull that gave me all these little tips and ideas there, okay? And how to deal with people. Not so much the sales process, but just people skills. I just learned so much from him. And this is another one from him. Introduce yourself to everyone in the buying party every time, even 6-year-old Johnny. So what Ronnie Considine would say is he'd say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Simon, and you are? Oh, Mary and Frank. But then he'll turn around to the 6-year-old. If you say to the 6-year-old, what's your name? Poor Johnny gets nervous and runs behind mummy's skirt and thinks, oh, big scary man speaking to me. So what Ronnie Considine does is he'll turn around and pick a name, any name. He'll turn around and say, and you must be, let me guess, I'm good at this. You must be David. Right there, Johnny will say, no, my name's Johnny. Right there, okay, mum and dad thinks, wow, 6-year-old Johnny can remember his name. Whoop-de-doo. But because you played that daft little game with Johnny, what's Johnny think of you as a salesperson now? Oh, I like that salesperson. And then involve Johnny throughout the process. Hey, Johnny, what color car do you think mommy and daddy should go for? That red one. No, we're looking at silver. Hey, Johnny, where's the first place you think mommy and daddy's going to take in the lovely new car? To see grandma. What do you think grandma thinks? She'll prefer the red one. Okay. Hey, Johnny, would you do me a favor? Would you draw me a picture of a car? Because I'm going to need that later to show mommy and daddy something. Now, think about why Ronnie Considine gets the young Johnny to draw a picture of a car. A couple of reasons, okay? Number one, he can use that picture later to go through his PCP. If you're in a different country, PCP in UK and Ireland, personal contract purchase or personal contract plan, depending on what manufacturer they are. So you might talk about using that where You can do the deposit, the final guaranteed minimum future or final payment in your brand. And most people just pay for the bit in the middle. Use the drawing of the car that Johnny did just to keep him involved, okay? Or you might use it for a gap presentation, guaranteed asset protection later on. But the real key, what I stole from Ronnie Considine on that one, is you're involving 6-year-old Johnny throughout the process, okay? Now, picking a name, if you're not comfortable with that one, fine, try something else. But involve him throughout the process as much as you can. Oh, and by the way, is 6-year-old Johnny going to be part of the decision-making process? You bet your bottom dollar. I can remember before Emma and I had children, I was speaking to a salesperson who was an ex-travel agent. And they said, hey, so often it's the children decide where the family holiday goes to. I can remember thinking, fuck that. If I'm paying for it, they'll go where I'm bloody going. If they don't like it, tough. Tell you what, how many times have Emma and I been to Florida, Disney World, okay? Kids love it, okay? How many times have we gone to the same place in Gran Canaria? Because the kids are nice and happy. Emma and I might want to go and try new places, but we do it so we don't risk it, okay? Maybe the travel agent was right, but I think it's exactly the same in buying a car, okay? Johnny might not have a direct influence on how much a month mum and dad can afford to spend on the car, but tell you what, if Johnny's bored, he wants to get out of there, he knows how to throw a tantrum. And mum and dad are going to huckle him out of the dealership and say, we'll come back later, okay? Can you just give us a call with all the numbers? And your whole sale is knackered. So involve everyone in the buying process. Also, involve Eddie Expert. Who's Eddie Expert? Eddie Expert's the guy that turns up with his mate to buy the car. Now, there's two types of Eddies. There's Eddies that really want to be there, okay? They're the ones that want to throw their weight around and say, yeah, I know how to buy a car and I want to be there and I'm going to show my son or daughter how to get a good deal, okay? You know the worst Eddie Experts I find, okay, is fathers and fathers Eddie Expert buying a car for their daughter. The real emotions that's driving there is love. They want to get the best deal for their daughter, don't they? Okay. Oh, the worst ones is the younger son, the 23-year-old son buying a car with his mum. The car's for his mum, and the young son wants to throw his ego around. Mum, I'll show you how to do it. I'll get you the best deal. The real emotion that's driving them is love. Okay. Now with those, stroke their ego. Okay. Little things like letting them know how good their mum or their son or their daughter is there, having them there to get the best deal. Hey, listen, I know you're going to keep them straight. You're going to look after them, make sure they get the best deal. Stroke Eddie's ego. Well, I said the worst one. Okay. Here's another one that frustrates me. It's the two mates. The mate's buying a car and he's brought his mate along and he's Eddie Expert. What drives him, though, is a different emotion. All too often, the emotion that drives him is the emotion of jealousy. His mate's getting a new car. He's not. Okay. So he still needs his ego stroked a bit. So he turns around and says things like, oh, yeah, that $30,000 car, you should be able to get it for 20. Okay. What, 800 a month payments? No, easy. I could get that for 450. Okay. I mean, what planet's Eddie on? Okay, but Eddie hasn't done 19 hours and 42 minutes of research. Okay, Eddie hasn't, his mate has, but you've got to be so careful. You've got to stroke Eddie's ego. Make him feel special. Make him as part of the deal there. Because I tell you what, if the buyer has brought Eddie along, they respect Eddie, even if Eddie's a knob. You can't make Eddie look like a knob in front of his mate. I know you want to. Okay, so often Eddie's made himself look like a knob. But you've got to be so careful there. Because if Eddie's ego gets bruised, he'll wreck the deal on you. I promise you. Even then, if you do the deal, okay, Eddie will still be shopping around afterwards because his ego was bruised. Okay, so involved Eddie. Oh, and by the way, anyone in the buying process. Someone turns up with that flea-bitten, stinking, mangy mutt of a dog. Oh, by the way, we're not a dog family. Okay, sorry, all you dog lovers out there. We love a dog. The only reason we're not a dog family is Emma, my wife, she's allergic to dogs, so don't beat me up. But If someone does, and you're not a dog lover, they turn up with that smelly, mangy mutt of a dog, if they turn up with a dog, that dog's important to them, okay? So make sure you make a fuss about that dog as well, okay? So involved everyone in the buying process. But let's get back to what I was meant to be talking about. Right at the end, when someone says, I need to check with my wife, I need to check with my business partner, I need to check with my whoever it is, okay? We need to see if that's an excuse or not. And here's the quickest, simplest way. And David Martin, we need to thank for this one, okay? David Martin will turn around and say, fully understand that. Buying a car is a big decision, shouldn't be taken lightly. Now, listen, can I ask you a question, though? If your wife was to say no, would she be saying no to the car or the numbers? I'll say that again. Firstly, agree with them. Yeah, I understand that. Buying a car is a big decision, shouldn't be taken lightly. Or you can do the old Pendle route. Or you'd be a braver man than me buying a car without my wife, okay? To me, I don't know, does that work in 2023? Did it ever work? I don't know. You'll tell me. Some of you Pendle lovers out there will say, oh, it worked brilliantly. I've just never used that one myself, okay? But this one here, okay, when they say, I need to check with my wife at the end, okay, I agree with them. I understand that. Buying a car is a big decision, shouldn't be taken lightly. Hey, but listen, if your wife was to say no, do you think she'd be saying no to the car or the numbers? Guys, in my experience, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, well, the numbers. Okay. Hey, which number do you think she wouldn't be 100% sure about? What, that monthly figure, that balance of change, or that 12.5 for your car? Oh, definitely that 12.5 for our car. Really? Okay. We work within a market. We don't create the market. What do you think your wife would be hoping to get for the car? What, 12.6, 12.7, something like that? No, she definitely want 13, or she definitely want 14. Right, well, as I said, we work within a market, we don't create the market. And bear in mind that 12.5 for your car is allowed for the new tires to be put on it, is allowing for it to get through that NCT test. So I've got to say that 14,000, I just don't think that's going to be feasible. How? Flexible. Do you think she could be? Okay. Now, again, that's where the husband might be using the wife as an excuse. Okay, so that one there, try it. See how you get on with it. Hey, listen, if your business partners say no, would they be saying no to the car or the numbers? Okay, definitely the numbers. Hey, which number do you think they wouldn't be 100% sure about? It's at $650 a month. You've got what the real objection is. But again, nip it in the bud early on, okay? If they do need to run it past their business partner, their wife, their husband, of course, we're going to let them do that. But let's just make sure it's not an excuse to go ahead with it. Try that one. See how it gets on with you. And we had a request for a few other ideas like this. So I'm going to go through those in the next couple of weeks as well. Now, listen, do me a favor. Most people hit the subscribe button on Spotify. It really helps, or Apple, or wherever you get your iPods. Please do me a favor. Go and do it. It really helps the algorithm. You know how it works, okay? Most people do that, so they get the notification when it comes through. Also, this one here is another one of these ones that you might want to send it out to everyone in your sales team, okay? Remember, we've got not just this. Here's our sales pitch. We've got Words That Sell Cars, the book. Go to Amazon. It's the easiest way to get it for you, okay? There's lots and lots of ideas in there. But also, we've got our signature sales fitness program, where we talk about these ideas and a lot more. Clearly, we have time to do a lot more on that sales fitness program. It's $299 a month for your person to put them through that whole process. So go and have a look at that. Go and have a look at our website. And again, thank you. That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn. Thank you.